بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيبنا وعظيمنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Lillahi ta'ala, correct your intentions. Barakallahu fikum. Let's continue in the explanation of al-Bayquniyah in Mustalah Hadith terminology. Today we will, insha'Allah, discuss the type of hadith called Musalsal. And so the author says, and the explainer, that is Sheikh al-Jabarti rahimahullah, he says, مسلسل خبر مقدم قل في تعريفه ما اسم موصول في محل الرفع مبتدأ مؤخر أي الحديث الذي على وصف واحد الجار والمجرور متعلق بقوله أتى. So مسلسل, that's the type of hadith now we're discussing. Yani, what's the line of poetry in the first place? The line of poetry is Bismillah. Musalsalun قل ما على وصف أتى مثل أما والله أنباني الفتى كذاك قد حدثنيه قائما أو بعد أن حدثني تبسما. Okay. Here's the poetry. This is the first line. These two together. Yeah, and here's the sadr, the chest, the front part. And here's the ajuz. So this is the first line about musalsal. This is part A. This is part B. And then here's the second line about musalsal. Here's part A and here's part B. مسلسل كل ما على وصف أتى مثل أما والله أنباني الفتى كذاك قد حدثنيه قائما أو بعد أن حدثني تبسما. So it means مسلسل, series. قل, say about it. It is ما على وصف أتى, that which came with a description. That's vague definition though. It's not really sufficient definition. But he said, say about musalsal, it is what came with a description. Mithlu, a description like Ama wallahi ambani al-fata, hear ye, or hey yo, I swear to God, the young man told me. كذاك قد حدثنيه قائما, likewise to say, he told me standing. أو بعد أن حدثني تبسما, or to say, after he told me he smiled. So those are the lines there. So Sheikh al-Jabarti breaks it down. He says, Musalsal, series. He says this is really a predicate. It's a predicate in the front. And so the subject of this sentence came after it. Actually, the sentence is reversed. Qul, say about musalsal, say about its definition. But this is not what the author of the poem presented. It's not a sufficient definition. And Sheikh Al-Jabarti, as you're going to see, he brought it closer. And we have taken also a definition for musalsal that's not here in what Sheikh Al-Jabarti has presented. But I was going to grab it and just incorporate it here. But I will settle with what's here and we'll keep moving, inshallah. So, musalsal, something is musalsal. When you see the word musalsal starting there, you'd think it's the subject of the sentence. Even the way I've been translating really is like musalsal, say about it, it is. So it's like subject of the sentence. Sheikh Al-Jabarti is saying, really, that's the predicate of the sentence. It came in the front though. And the subject of the sentence is here, this word ma. So what he's saying is, what the line really means is that which came with a particular description it's musalsal. That which came with a particular description is musalsal. And then it got flipped. Musalsal is that which came with a particular description. So that's how the line means. According to Al-Jabarti, rahimahullah, musalsal is what came with a particular description. So, what came with a particular description is musalsal. Musalsalun kol, say about its definition, that which, meaning the hadith which, musalsal is the hadith which, so the word ma here means the hadith which, ala wasfin ata, with a description it came, ala wasfin wahidin, a single description. It has a particular single unique description. Something about it unique, which we're going to describe what that is. You might gather from the name of this type of hadith series that's something repetitive. And you probably would gather this must be in reference to the chain of narration. There is a series, something recurring in the chain of narration. So, على وصف واحد أتى, it came. It's a hadith that came with a particular description. فعل ماض وفاعله ضمير مستتر فيه يعود على ما والجملة صلة لها أي أتى به رواته على وصف مقرون إما بصفة قولية أو فعلية. Here, Sheikh Al-Jabarti brings the definition closer. He says, meaning, it is the hadith in which its narrators have produced something in the form of a saying or an action. They have produced something, each narrator has done something, performed something in the form of a saying or an action. That's the series. So you have the hadith. Hadith is made of two parts, a chain, the isnad, and a metin, the text. So this chain is what we are focusing on here. So musalsal is a hadith that its definition focuses on the chain of the hadith. So as you've seen, some hadiths revolve around the text. Some hadiths revolve around the chain. And some hadiths revolve around both. Marfu' hadith is attributed to the Prophet, even without a chain, even without authenticity. Muttasil hadith is a hadith with a connected chain back to the Prophet or a companion. Even without authenticity, though, necessarily. Musnad hadith is a hadith attributed to the Prophet with a continuous chain, so both. Musalsal is a hadith that there is something recurring in its chain. Sheikh Al-Jabarti is telling us that thing that's recurring in the chain is something that each narrator does either as a statement or an action. فالوصف المقرون بالصفة القولية كالمسلسل بالقسم. So the description of this chain that has some saying in it, some verbal thing, yani, the recurring issue in the chain that is a statement, the recurring issue in the chain that is a statement is like kal musalsali bil qasam, is like the hadith that is a series or has a series of swearing to God, has a series of swearing to God. Each narrator is swearing to God, so it's not part of the original hadith. Something each narrator is doing, yeah, it could be part of the original hadith, but something each narrator is doing. وَذَلِكَ مِثْلُ أَنْ يَقُولُ, that's like for a narrator to say, أَمَا وَاللَّهِ أَنْبَانِي الْفَتَى, hear ye, or ayo, meaning ama harful istiftah. Ama is a particle for starting, initiating, opening up. It's a particle for making an opening, or it's an introductory particle. Harful istiftah bimanzilati ala has meaning like ala, which same meaning. It's an introductory particle when speaking. So, like, I don't know what they might say formally in English. Ayo, that's informal though. Wallahi, I swear to God. Ambani, al-fata, the fata, the lad told me. The lad told me. Ambani al-fata. بقلب الهمزة الثانية ألفا. يعني ambani, he told me. The original word is amba'ani. Amba'ani, he told me. But the poet turned the hamza here into a regular alif, so it became ambani. Wallahi ambani al-fata. That's valid. Yani shaykhahu. And who is the lad, the fata here? That's the sheikh of the one who's speaking. The one who's saying, Wallahi amba'ani. I swear to God, he told me. So who's he? Al-fata, the lad. Who's the lad in relation to the one who's swearing? His sheikh. The lad is the sheikh of the one who's swearing, who's saying Wallahi. ثم يقول الآخر مثل ذلك, and then the next one will say the same. And then the next one will say the same. And then the next one will say the same. Wallahi ambani al-fata. Wallahi ambani al-fata. Through the chain or through a portion of the chain. Bismillah. Yes, through the chain or through a portion of the chain. That's part of the definition, throughout the whole chain or some of the chain. So even what Sheikh Al-Jabarti has presented is not a definition that we took. A fuller definition. Inshallah, we'll come to it. ومن أمثلته قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم لمعاذ. An example of that is what the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said to Mu'adh. Mu'adh ibn Jabal رضي الله عنه. He was a mujtahid. He was from the people of Medina. And he had curly hair. He said to Mu'adh, Ya Mu'adh, inni uhibbuk, فقل دبر كل صلاة اللهم أعني على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. Oh Mu'adh, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, I do indeed love you. So say at the end of every prayer, Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. Oh Allah, enable me to mention you and to thank you and to perform uh, a perfect worship of you, to worship you perfectly. فإنه مسلسل بقول كل من الرواة إني أحبك فقل. This hadith has a series in it, which is that every narrator said to the one he was teaching, I do indeed love you, so say, etc. وأما الوصف المقرون بالصفة الفعلية. And as for the recurring thing that is an action, كأن يحكي الحال التي تلبس بها شيخه عند التحديث. It's like for the narrator to imitate the situation that his sheikh was involved in when he was telling the hadith. بأن يقوم أو يتبسم, by standing, for example, or smiling عنده, upon doing it. فيقول, and so the narrator would say, حدثني شيخي قائما, my sheikh told me standing. Yeah, and each one saying that. He told me standing, and he told me standing, and he told me standing. From Fulan, who told me standing. He said, Fulan told me while he was standing, that Fulan told him while he was standing, for example. Oh, بعد أن حدثني تبسم, or each one says, after he told me, he smiled. كما قال الناظم, just like the author said, just like the composer said, the arranger. كذاك قد حدثنيه قائما أو بعد أن حدثني تبسم. That's what the author said. Likewise, to say, he told me standing, or after he told me, he smiled. كذاك جار ومجرور خبر مقدم أي مثل ما تقدم في كونه من المسلسل أن يقول قد حدثنيه قائما. So likewise, for the narrator to say, he told me standing, مبتدأ مؤخر محكي, أي قول الراوي قد حدثنيه قائما كائن كذلك. أو يقول أو بعد أن حدثني تبسم بألف الإطلاق. Or for him to say, for each one to say, after he told me, he smiled. And this alif here in tabassama, that's called aliful itlaq. That's the alif that's there to keep the beat. So the word is tabassama, past tense verb. Tabassama. Where'd the alif come from? Tabassama. The poet has to keep the beat, so he can extend the vowel at the end of the line sometimes to do so. Any of the three vowels. وكل من القيام والتبسم صفة فعلية. So both the standing and the smiling are actions. ومن أمثلته حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه. And amongst its examples is the hadith of Abu Hurairah. May Allah accept from him. قال شبك بيدي أبو القاسم صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, Abu al-Qasim intertwined his fingers with mine. وقال, and he said, صلى الله عليه وسلم, خلق الله الأرض يوم السبت. Allah created the earth on Saturday. Al-Hadith, etc. To the end of the Hadith. Listen, you see this here. They cite a Hadith, and then after citing the Hadith, They write al hadith, or they cite an ayah, and then after citing the ayah, they say al ayah, al ayata. This means etc., meaning until the end, finish. Yani, there's a continuation. Al hadith here, that's what they will say after citing part of the hadith to say to you, there's a continuation to the hadith. And if it were an ayah, they will say al ayah. The meaning is there's a continuation for the ayah. And usually that's what I translate when I say etc. خلق الله الأرض يوم السبت. Allah created the earth on Saturday, etc. Meaning till the end of the hadith. I usually say also till the end of the hadith or till the end of the ayah, just so it's clear for someone who doesn't know what etc. means. And sometimes they say ila akhirihi for some person's quote. Here. Ilch. This looks like it says ilch. This means ila akhirihi, which means also etc. to the end. etc. etc. I think that's how you spell it. It is, as far as I know, academic standard to abbreviate, etc. It is acceptable to abbreviate it. فقد تسلسل تشبيك كل من رواته بيد من روى عنه. It is a series that every narrator intertwined his fingers with the one he's narrating from. Yani, if you are the one who's in this chain narrating it to someone, you're going to make it a point to do this so that you can keep the chain going, keep the series going. And in that is a hint to the Muslims being uniform, working together, doing like each other. The Muslims imitate the Muslims, don't imitate the Kafirs. And the Muslims do what the other Muslims do, not what the Kafirs do. وقد يأتي مقرونا بصفة قولية وفعلية. That's why some people who do go astray, like they start learning and then something happens to them, like they get corrupted. A lot of times because this conformity, they don't have it in themselves. There are people who are anti-conformists. And maybe some of them, that's how Allah made them. Maybe some people are like trolls. So you say something, they want to say the opposite. Some people, they don't like to listen. So they want to do what they want to do. They do what they want to do. And they don't take advice, and they do not conform, and they do not cooperate. But if you want to advance the Muslim nation, you need to cooperate. You need to know how to cooperate. May Allah enable us. Ameen. وقد يأتي مقرونا بصفة قولية وفعلية معا. And it could be that the recurring issue in the hadith is an action and a saying together. كحديث أنس رضي الله عنه, like the hadith of Anas ibn Malik, who's also one of the muhaddithun of the companions. Anas ibn Malik, he's a big hadith scholar. Also, Abu Hurairah, he's the biggest hadith scholar of the companions. And Aisha is one. And inshallah, there's others we'll learn about. I think we're going to see all of those nice details in the Alfiya of Al-Iraqi. May Allah enable us to get there. I mean, I'm eager. I have not reviewed that book in a long time. I have had, I reviewed it, not recently. So I'm eager to go over it with you so we can pull out the knowledge in there. There's nice information in there. What did Anas narrate? قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, the messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, لا يجد العبد حلاوة الإيمان حتى يؤمن بالقدر خيره وشره حلوه ومره. A slave believes not, or finds not, rather, not believes not. A slave finds not the sweetness of faith. And he does not find the sweetness of faith until he believes in destiny. It's good and it's evil. It's sweet and it's bitter. Subhanallah. قال وقبض رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على لحيته. Anas said, and the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam took hold of his beard. وقال, and he said, آمنت بالقدر خيره إلى آخره. He said, I believe in destiny. It's good, etc. فإنه تسلسل بقبض كل من يرويه على لحيته مع قوله ذلك. Indeed, this hadith, it has a series, which is that every narrator took hold of his beard while narrating this hadith and then said that, I believe in the qadar. Wallahu alam, we'll stop there. So we just covered tasalsul, musalsal. We just covered musalsal. So that's another hadith type done. How close are we here? I'm just looking at the bar. So we are not even halfway through the book, but getting closer. Inshallah, may Allah enable us to take our times and not to rush and to benefit from our time. May Allah bless our time and enable us to achieve our goals. Ameen. Any question? Off topic related to the hadith just mentioned. Allah created the heavens and earth in 6 days, from Sunday to Friday. Right? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, some scholars, they said that most of the Musalsal hadiths are actually weak, though. I don't know what's going on here in this hadith. They said the benefit of the Musalsal hadith. Yeah, I know which one you mean here. This one here. They said the benefit of the Musalsal hadith is that it shows the accuracy of the narrators who are reporting with this continuous chain. It shows also the continuity, displays the continuity of the report. They said, but most of this type are weak, actually. I'm not saying this hadith is weak. I don't know what's going on with this hadith. Sometimes those hadiths, they have some explanation you won't know. You're welcome. Like, I'll give you an example. Someone asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أتتخذ الخمر خلا أتتخذ الخمر خلا. It means, Is wine taken for making vinegar? قال لا. قال لا. This hadith is authentic hadith. Is this is what it looks like it says. I'm only translating the words like they look like. That it was asked to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, is wine taken for vinegar? He said no. What does this hadith mean? This hadith means can we use the vinegar that comes from the wine if we put something in it? If we put something in the wine and then the wine turned into vinegar while something was in it, can we keep that and use it? Is it valid? Yani, does it become usable? So he said, La, no. So where's all of that in the hadith? I don't have a lot of information here, but amongst the beginning of explaining that is that they already knew the religious judgment about this, so that the question is not what it appears to be. Meaning they knew. They how are you going to get vinegar? You get vinegar from wine. That's first of all, everybody knows that. Second of all, they knew the judgment too. Not just they knew where the wine comes from, where the vinegar comes from wine. They knew the judgment also that the vinegar is edible. They knew that. So why they asked this question? Because it's not, they were not asking what it might look like the words are saying. They were asking something that might not appear for you in the hadith. So this hadith, I don't know what's going on here. خَلَقَ اللَّهُ الْأَرْضَ يَوْمَ السَّبْتِ. So it looks like saying Allah created the earth on Saturday. It's true. That's a good question. Thank you. Barakallahu fikum. Yani, Allah created the heavens and earth in 6 days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's it. So how means Allah created the earth on Saturday? Allahu alam. Any other question? Inshallah. You're welcome. And some other things like that too. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك